Virtual cam. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Charles. Maybe we'll take a look. I don't think so, really, though. I don't think so. I don't think so. Can I get this thing closed out? Oh, come on. One second, guys. Check. You guys can hear me, right? Alright, 1 second. Un momento. Trying to set something up a little bit differently this time around. Let's see. Can I pull this out? No. Alright. Let's keep this out here. Yeah, we're going to get into this. We're going to get into all this in just a second, guys. Let me first pull up our severe weather tomorrow. Give me 1 second. This is what we're looking at tomorrow. I'm trying to figure out how I can... I want to see the virtual cam. I want to see the normal cam. That's a little annoying. Alright, whatever. I'm over it. We can start, chat. We can start. Yeah, why doesn't it let me... That's annoying. All right, I see a lot of people saying a lot of places. Here's what's going on. Here is our day 2 categorical risk. I got a cough drop in my mouth, so I'm not coughing this whole stream. I do feel a little bit better today, though. Hail threat is our biggest threat. 15% hatch. This does include Des Moines, Iowa, and Omaha, Nebraska. Just to the north of Kansas City. This does mean 2+ inch hail is possible, and we're talking potentially gorilla hail. Maybe not that big. 2 to 4 inch hail is possible in this region, again, including Des Moines and Omaha. The worst of this weather looks to move through tomorrow late afternoon into the evening hours, potentially initiating somewhere between 2 and 4 p.m. There is a tornado risk. It's not very significant. We're going to go over all this. We have severe weather Friday, Saturday, Sunday across a lot of these areas. Let's start with tomorrow. 2% tornado risk. Nothing big. Let's quickly look at the latest HRRR. Let's quickly look at the latest HRRR. Okay. So here we go. Let's zoom in here, guys. I'm just gonna go over each severe weather event over the next few days, and I'll take questions. This isn't expected to really be severe, some thunderstorms, but here we go. Notice the latest HRRR does have a interesting supercell composite / potentially SIGTOR signal going directly over Omaha. You don't need to take that too seriously. I mean, you got some up here as well. The future reflectivity's never going to be right. Sorry, bless me. It's never going to be right. It's just a guess, kind of. It'll be off. But that's something to pay attention to. I mean, this thing thinks you could have a long track SIG tour starting in eastern Nebraska all the way through almost to eastern Iowa. I don't think the conditions are right for that. What's up, MK? Let's look at our SIG tour parameter for tomorrow. Oh, Bush North. Well, 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 well. Even these cough drops can't give me stuff coughing. Our SIG tour parameter did push north. Interesting. All right. There's really good directional shear on this. There always has been. Let's take a quick look. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, 4.3. Let's take a quick look at this. Oh, wow. A little bit capped. Sorry, guys. A little bit capped. Not much SRH, not much shear. This isn't that impressive looking. Well, the most impressive looking thing on this sounding is the low level directional shear. East southeasterly winds, almost into westerlies up at the 500 millibar level. That's pretty impressive. Overall, the rest of the sounding doesn't look like anything too dangerous. Let's go down here. This looks more dangerous than that last sounding, even though it's the SIG torp ram. Well, the fixed SIG torp ram is lower. A good, decent enough low level shear, velocity shear, and directional shear. Really good looking hodograph. 4.0 effective layer, SIG torp ram, almost 400 SRH, 35 knot surface shear, 24.6 supercell composite. So, yeah, I mean, maybe there's a SIG tour potential tomorrow in Iowa. If I had to guess, I think tomorrow, I think in Iowa they are going to put you up to a 5, at least a 5% tornado risk in this region right here. I think at least a 5. Maybe you get a 10. Maybe you get a 10. Maybe you get a 10. But we'll see. I don't think it's going to stay at 2. Although, really, hail's the biggest thing. Hail's the biggest thing we're watching. This is our big threat that everyone's talking about. Moving into Friday. This is going to affect a lot of people. Yeah, and you could get a little bit of severe weather up in Minnesota with that. Most of the severe weather is going to stay south of the Twin Cities, most likely. You could get some thunderstorms up in the Twin Cities tomorrow. But severe-wise, I think that hail tornado threat's going to stay to the south. I wouldn't be too nervous in Iowa tomorrow. It's not like we're not expecting a severe weather outbreak. There's just going to be some isolated events. I would just stay weather alert, but most people aren't going to be affected. Just have a way to get weather alerts. You'll be chilling in Iowa. Here we go. I'm really interested to see what we get tomorrow. We get our HRRR looking into this feature tomorrow, and we're going to have our four panel. I totally joined the live when I was at a red light. Leanne, appreciate the dedication. I appreciate the follow. Jekski. Here's our wrench. Looking slight categorical risk tomorrow. Here's our probabilistic. Let's see if we get any. Can we look at any of our short ranges on this yet? Our NAM's going to be able to see into it. Let's look at our 00ZH triple R. I just took a cough drop. I haven't, guys. Something about getting on stream, because I've had this like nagging cough for like 3 weeks now, and I haven't been feeling sick. I've just had this cough. Something about getting on stream, guys, makes me have to cough. Chat. I literally think I'm allergic to chat. I literally. What other explanation could there be other than I'm allergic to chat? Weather T, WCM. Pamela, I appreciate you. Kansas is fine. Stop freaking out on me, wiener dog. Well, maybe not on Friday, but let's get into it. Here's our HRRR00Z. Let's break down Friday a little bit now. I don't smoke. Santi. I'm about it. Good evening. So here we go. Here's that lineup on Friday. Here is as we get into Friday evening. Notice what's happening here. Real skinny QLCS line setting up right there. Do you guys notice this initiating possibly east of Chicago like I was talking about? We'll talk about Cincy in a second. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Cincy's in that Saturday watch. And then moves back to the west on Sunday. So we're gonna talk about that Saturday watch next. Look at where this initiates out here near Chicago. We've been talking about the possibility that this is gonna initiate off to the east. Pearly, appreciate you. Watch this, and I don't know. Maybe Chicago gets a little bit of luck. We might have some thunderstorms popping up in the back here, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I do think we'll see some popcorn initiation up here. Let's look at our unstable cape as we move into that time frame. Lots of cape. Lots of energy up here for severe weather, that's for sure. Let's take a sounding out of Chicago. Absolutely no directional shear. So not surprised to see very little SRH, storm relative felicity. Plenty of cape, though. Possible hazard, severe thunderstorm. No SIG tour really at all up in Chicago. But this all depends on the timing. So, marginal severe. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take a look at a couple things here. Yeah, to me it feels like a wind and hail threat for Chicago, if anything. We can take a look at our SIG-TOR param out there. Look, I don't know what this is doing up here in Michigan. What are you doing up here, man? I don't think this is going to do much. Plenty of surface cape. I mean, again. This is a 5.5 effective layer SIG-TOR param up in Michigan. But again, like, where's the directional shear on this thing? It's like non-existent. You don't have much. You don't have SRH 483 at the surface. You have velocity shear at the surface. You have good velocity shear, but you have no directional shear. You also have a cap. That's gonna cause some issues. You can see you have some inhibition. This photograph isn't. You want it to look cyclical. You want it to look something like this or like this. I don't know. This isn't doing it for me. So we'll see. A SIG-TOR is not impossible up there in Michigan, but I think this is lying to us. You can't always believe your significant tornado parameter when you see stuff like that. But when I see it down here to the southwest of St. Louis, let's take a look at this. Photograph not impressive. Lots of cape, lots of surface cape. See, this is what I'm looking at here. Good surface level directional shear down there. That to me looks more promising. Almost 37 knot surface shear as well. possible hazard tornado. I still think there's a better tornado, even though the SIGTOR param is way lower down here. I think there's a better chance for tornadoes down there in southern Illinois and southern to eastern Missouri. We'll see, though. Gerardo, I appreciate that. But yeah, another thing I wanted to point out really quickly, and we're going to go on to Saturday. So timing-wise, guys, this is going to be a late afternoon. This is going to be an evening thing. You can see, you look at where when our SIGTOR param starts to really spark up here. This is like 5 Central, 6 Central is when we're going to start seeing a lot of initiation, a lot of severe warnings popping up. This is Friday. Sorry, we're talking Friday now. I did want to highlight, because I've been talking about this region down here in the south. There's going to be one area that's going to overperform. I think it might be down here. So before we move on to Saturday really quickly, I'm going to get to your questions after Saturday. I want to look at this. I want to look at some of these. I want to look at some of these parameters down here. Good directional shear. This is a decent looking one. Still some capping issues for severe weather. Let's see here. There's going to be a lot of cape. The tornado threat doesn't look insane really anywhere. This is a pretty good photograph for this is a pretty good photograph for a tornado. Look at this loop-de-loop. Yeah, this would be right around this would be off to the southeast of Oklahoma City. This would be in southeastern Oklahoma. We could get some spin-ups through here, I think. All right. We'll get to see our four panel kind of discussion tomorrow. We'll have a 5% almost guaranteed tornado risk in here, but we'll have to see what happens from there if we get that 10% or 10% hatch. I think either's possible in certain locations. Now looking to our Saturday. Give me half a second. Oh my god, I was just tripped. Sorry, chat, I'm back. Alright, we're on to Saturday. Appreciate the follows, guys. I live in Northeast Arkansas. Going to Northwest Arkansas on Friday. The family is a tad apprehensive. Yeah, Northwest Arkansas is in a risk zone Friday and Saturday, so. St. Louis will get a lot of rain this weekend. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. All right, let's take a quick look at Saturday. Let's take a look at our Euro. You know, I've been speaking about Saturday being a little bit more impressive. Really, this feature down here Saturday night. This feature down here, I think we have a good looking trough ejection right down here. I think we're gonna have some high velocities. I think our LLJ is gonna kick in, and this region down here is gonna get some. It's gonna have some issues. Saturday. But yeah, our Saturday event. I mean, we're gonna be experiencing this severe weather just training off to the east from Friday on through Saturday. I think. Man, it's real interesting because you have this high pressure down here to the southeast trying to hold these storms to the north, and then you've got your low up here trying to funnel them in. So that's why we have this skinny little risk zone here, guys. These storms are being compressed in between our high pressure to the south and our low to the north again. And you know, it's going to be interesting to see which areas this get out of here lucky with nothing. It does look, this could be a Saturday morning through Saturday evening event. And then this, to me, looks like it could be spicy as well. Look at that Sunday. Look at that Sunday evening, guys. Sunday evening into Monday morning. Right there. They only have, for our Sunday event, they have it down here. That's going to expand. That Sunday risk zone is going to expand. We'll see that Sunday risk zone expand like this, probably. Out a little bit farther than they have it. I think that Sunday risk zone is going to include, although it might go into Monday. They might have this for Monday. But we'll have to see. Chat, what's going on? Constance, what's up? Rita, I appreciate it. Yeah, Travis. I would say Grand Rapids has upticked a little bit for Friday. Yeah, I would. Let's go to the CSU. Let's see what the CSU thinks. Or CSU. I would say the CSU. It's not the Colorado State University. It's just Colorado State University. Here's our day 2. Oh, we need to go to day 3. Yeah, look at that. Here's what Colorado State University thinks. You see where it has that dot, that focal point of the severe weather up there between Chicago, Michigan. We've got a little bit of intensification. I think this is going to be definitely a focal point to watch down here, as I've said. I still think this is more of a wind hail threat. There's just not a crazy amount of it's not a crazy amount of directional low level shear up here, but we're going to see spin ups all up and down this line. How intense are they going to be is the question. I think the probability is a little higher down here. But yeah, Michigan is uptrended for severe weather on Friday, unfortunately. For people who don't like severe weather in Michigan. What about Davenport, Iowa on Friday? Look like north of it could have a bit of a hot spot. Where's Davenport again? Oh yeah, you guys are out to the east. Yeah, I mean Davenport's on the border of that. Well, it depends. I mean, you're on the border of that 15%, 5% hail, 15%, 5% wind. You guys are going to be in that transition period between Thursday and Friday. But I think Davenport's gonna dodge the worst of it. At least it looks like it right now. What about Omaha, Nebraska Thursday? Yeah, I mean you guys have the threat for gorilla hail. Possibly up to 4-inch hail. So, timing wise, and we've talked about this a lot. Timing wise, it looks like, let's go down into here, HRRR 00Z. There we go. Here's initiation Thursday in and around Omaha. So this would be 4 in the afternoon. 5 in the afternoon. They've got, the HRRR showing SIGTOR potential here. CSU and SBC aren't too concerned about significant tornadoes here. They're more concerned about very large hail, very high supercell composites. But rotation is possible in these cells. So this is a afternoon, early evening event. Likely. We'll see if this slows up or speeds down, speeds up or slows down, sorry. But right now this is looking like a 4 or 5 central-ish, give or take an hour type time frame. When I appreciate you. No, I think Omaha is gonna see some severe weather before tomorrow evening, like I've been saying. Ella, you're asking about Omaha, Nebraska tomorrow evening, and I'm sitting here talking about Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, all right, Ella, you're getting muted. Okay, You're spamming Omaha, Nebraska tomorrow evening, and I'm sitting here actively saying on screen, Omaha, Nebraska, 5 p.m. Central. And you spammed it like 20 times. All you had to do was stop spamming for a second and just listen to me talk, and you would have had your answer. Oh, my God. What's going on, Xavier? What is going on? Mansfield, Ohio. Wow. God. Let's see where Mansfield, Ohio is. Mansfield, Ohio. Yeah, you guys are in that Saturday risk. We can talk about that in a second. Driving Saturday from Panama City Beach to Bowling Green between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Was Saturday said? You'll probably be fine. I mean, look at our risk zone for Saturday. Bowling Green's bottom edge of this thing. A lot of the severe weather is going to try to stay to the north of Bowling Green, but I think you'll be all right. How's Milwaukee looking for the weekend? Could there be any tornadoes? They did move this slight risk up into Milwaukee. And interestingly enough, I was showing this earlier, when we look at our SIG Tour params for Friday, you can actually see a decent amount of SIG Tour pushing up into and around Milwaukee. So let's take a sounding up here for you guys. Again, there's zero directional shear up here to the north. I've never seen less directional shear in my life. There's a good amount of velocity. There's a good amount of velocity shear. So, wind shear can be changing in wind direction with verticality or changing in wind speeds with verticality. You're having an issue with changing with wind direction with verticality. Your hodograph isn't very curved. You've got capping issues. But you do have 2500 surface cape. Low SRH, low surface shear. Half of this sounding wants you to be able to have a tornado. Half of this sounding says no way. So what I would call this is extremely conditional. Possible hazard type is labeled as marginal tornado as possible. But this is kind of a make or break. Right now I'm leaning more towards break. But is it possible for a tornado or two to touch down around the Milwaukee region on Friday? Looking at the sounding, technically, yes, but it's not, it's not the craziest sounding I've ever seen. I wouldn't be surprised if one didn't, if we had not enough, if the conditions weren't primed enough on Friday, sorry. Kelly, what's going on? Zach, I appreciate you. Yali, what's poppin'? Let's see here. What's going on, Abby? Yeah, my glasses are like, where are they? Oh, I just took them on out there. I'll probably put them on in a second when I start getting a headache. Let's see here. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. I'm just reading something. Jessica, Matt, let's see. I just want to go up and read something real quick. Okay, something in the room. Don't scare me like that. What the heck? North of Grand Rapids, Michigan area. Chance for a tornado? Chance, yes. You guys again, if you just want to pay attention to the SIG Tour params, you're looking up here and you're like, oh my gosh. Right? Why do we have significant tornado parameters this high? But guess what? When we click on this, possible hazard type tour, not even SIG Tour. Hodograph isn't looking that scary. We have capped atmosphere potentially. We have lots of inhibition, which is going to make it hard. Now, 53 knot shear at the surface and 483 SRH is impressive, but there's no There's no, again, there's no directional shear. This is super conditional as well. I don't know. We could get something up here. Let's take a look at our actual. Let's take a look at our actual reflectivity up here. Notice there's no initiation. So this is the frame where we had that huge patch of SIGTOR. Because that's the thing everyone likes to pull up. What's the SIGTOR params? Oh, we got a big 5.0 SIGTOR param. You got a 1.0 or above, you could have an EF2+. So everyone likes to pull that up. But guess what? Why is there no thunderstorms here on the HRRR? Because we potentially have too much inhibition. We potentially have a capped atmosphere here. So conditional again. Conditional, meaning it's not guaranteed that we even get severe weather up here right now. I think we will. But I think there's going to be a little bit of capping that's going to hold some of this back. Des Moines has to watch out. Des Moines is, I think, definitely going to get strong potential supercell type storms in and around the area. There's a little bit of a lack of rotation, which is why they're not sure, which is why you're only in a 2% tornado risk. But large hail and strong winds is a thing for Des Moines tomorrow. Michigan, yeah, we've been talking about that. We've been talking about Michigan a lot. Let me move this real quick. There we go. Travis, you didn't miss much. Yeah, Dallas Fort Worth. Look at this. DFW Friday. Some potential severe weather. Saturday. And then we'll see. Hopefully this is off to the east on Sunday. I think you may end up in like a marginal on Sunday as well. So it's going to be a pretty active week for Dallas. Saturday is probably going to be your most significant day, I think. We're going to get some pretty strong low-level jet initiating across the south central moving across the south central region. Could I go to Friday? Let's see. How are we looking for Michigan, even though you just talked about it? Michigan has trended up. Here's the thing. It's a very, what I was saying about Michigan and Wisconsin, it's very conditional. There's going to be some inhibition up in this region, meaning there's going to be a cap. There's potentially going to be a cap on the atmosphere, not allowing for kind of the initiation of these thunderstorms. If we can break that cap, we could see some tornadoes, hail, and wind up here. Some pretty significant weather. But it's really tough to tell if the cap's going to break or not. Most of this is not conditional. We're pretty positive that we're going to have on Friday severe weather across this region. Farther north you get, it becomes a little bit conditional. Are we able to break that cap and allow these thunderstorms to initiate? Because if they do, there's going to be a lot of favorable stuff in the atmosphere for them to intensify very quickly. Yeah, Houston's looking pretty good. Houston's looking pretty safe throughout the weekend. We'll have to watch Sunday. Right now, they want everything to initiate, to your north. But I would say pay attention to Sunday. Houston always ends up getting dragged into these risk zones that they're close to. It's like I can almost guarantee you it's going to end up going like this. They're always like, put Houston in there. Always does. Yep, Cincinnati's that Saturday look. I don't expect this. I don't know if I even expect it enhanced up here. I think we might get it enhanced down to the south on Saturday though. Rainfall is going to be pretty crazy. Let me show you guys these rainfall estimates. Let's see. Let's go to 1 second, guys. Let's go to total quantitative precipitation. What time would it be most likely to be severe? It's most likely going to be an evening event for you guys in Michigan. Here is our next 5 days rainfall. So obviously St. Louis, Southern Illinois, potentially Indianapolis to the south and Indiana, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, potentially Dallas-Fort Worth, but this looks like it may be just off to your west. We're going to have some flash flooding potential. Lee, I appreciate you. What is that? A squirrel and a hot dog? NTX, what's going on, dude? Yeah, Iowa tomorrow, what's driving this risk is really a hail risk right now. You can see from Des Moines over to Omaha, surrounding regions, really eastern Nebraska, and most of central to western Iowa. Guerrilla hail could be a possibility all the way up to 4-inch hail. Pretty light wind, pretty light tornado risk, 2% right now. I think we'll go up to a 5%. I talked about that earlier. I think we'll get a little 5%er down there that may affect portions of central and southern Iowa and southeastern Nebraska. I think our tornado chances might go up a little bit tomorrow. And that's going to be initiating around 4 or 5 central. Maybe I would say 3 to 5. You got to be careful with these storms. So Minnesota looks pretty good. If you're in southern Minnesota, you've got a little bit of a risk zone tomorrow, but Twin Cities area, north, not much of a threat. You'll get some thunderstorms. We'll have to watch this southern area. The HRRR does want to initiate a SIG tour in southern Minnesota. I could see a tornado touching down in southern Minnesota. I don't know about a SIG tour. How bad is it going to be for Tulsa, Oklahoma? Well, we'll start paying attention to you on Friday. I do think, and I've been talking about this, that our greatest tornado risk will be in this region. So this is very conditional up here. We're gonna have a lot more directional shear down here to the south as well. What's going on, Bridget? Florence, Kentucky. Let's see where that is. Florence, Kentucky. Oh, so basically Cincinnati. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I've looked at that before. I have. That's a Saturday thing, not a Sunday thing. Although we'll have to see. I think this is gonna. I think you guys may have a Monday risk zone as well. A Saturday and a Saturday and a Monday risk zone, because this low is going to be ejecting off into the northeast. So we're going to have this risk zone up here, something like that on Monday. We'll have to see exactly where. But our Saturday risk. Here's our Saturday risk zone. I think this is going to be a more severe thunderstorm warning area, hail and wind. We're definitely going to have a 2%er through here, tornado risk, I think. But right now, it doesn't look like a major tornado risk up here to the north. Not yet. Timing-wise, it's going to be an all-day type of event. Again, we're dealing with something kind of annoying. You've got this, and we've already seen this year. We've got this high pressure to the south, really guarding off a lot of this area down here. And then we've got this low, this troughing happening up to the north. And it's going to funnel this severe weather, and that's why the risk zone looks like that. So a lot of this is just going to keep piling up, a lot of this rain and a lot of the severe weather in the same area. But it's kind of just going to train through all day on Saturday. So there's not really a great timing of when you may see the most severe weather on Saturday or when you may not. That's why it's such a skinny risk zone. Lee, I appreciate it. Sherry, what's going on? One second, guys. Will it rain on Easter Sunday in Houston, Texas? Rain? I think it might rain on. Yeah, I think it might. You guys might get a little rain on Easter Sunday. Severe weather's a little up in the air. Yeehaw, Adam Cowboy. Thanks for the cowboy hat, Yali. Sorry I wasn't in here. Yeehaw. Blue, what's going on? I feel like it's been a while. Do you think the cap will break or hold for Chicago? Shoot. If I just went with my gut, I think it's going to break. If I just went with my gut, I think it's going to break. And that's really going with my gut because the HRRR doesn't have it breaking. But I think it's going to break. I do. Tomorrow, Omaha, you're going to have some severe weather in the area tomorrow. Omaha, someone's asking about Omaha. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about it. Yeah, your biggest threat right now is hail. Gorilla hail type issue. You could have up to 4-inch or bigger hail. Not impossible with the environmental conditions you got going on tomorrow. Not a ton of rotation in the area. I'm not as concerned with tornadoes, although a few isolated tornadoes are possible. Maybe a strong tornado. I think those might initiate out to the east of Omaha, if anything. But yeah, around 3-4 p.m. Central, we could have some very strong, severe thunderstorms initiating in and around Omaha. Thank God for underground parking. I figured when I came back and saw that, Yali, I was like, she definitely sent that. It's the second I got up. I figured that. Sorry. Bad timing. You see a hook radar in Kansas right now? I'm looking at it. Let me see. Let's look at this bad boy. Yeah, right near Kinsley. Not much there. I'm looking at it. Let's look at base velocity. There's definitely some shear near Kinsley, but there's not a ton of rotation. No, there's not a ton of rotation in that. No, Kansas is looking chill right now. I have my radar up. You can see it on the YouTube side of things. Let's see here. Watertown, Wisconsin. Where's Watertown, Wisconsin? When does the Florida High leave? Next week. It should be sitting there all weekend. All weekend. Yeah. I think Saturday's your day, DFW. You're gonna have a good low-level jet punching through, surface low, pushing north just to the west of you. I think that's your day for some potential really bad weather in Dallas. Where's Watertown, Wisconsin? Let's see if I can zoom in and find it. Radar Omega can't find it. Watertown, Wisconsin. Yeah, I mean, you guys are in a, you guys are, I consider, so around Madison, Milwaukee, you guys are in a conditional setup for Friday. It's going to be a make or break for you guys on Friday. You're either going to get some really bad weather or you're not going to get much at all. Models can't agree on if the cap's going to break or not right now. I like I said, I think I'm leaning towards the cap's going to break Friday afternoon, late afternoon to evening hours. So, Aaron, we've been talking about Omaha a lot. Omaha, 3-4 p.m. Central. There is the chance for large hail, 2 to 4 inches. Strong winds. A tornado is not out of the cards, although we're not seeing a ton of rotation in that area on or tomorrow. What does it mean if the cap breaks? Well, I guess I can show you a visual representation of the cap breaking. So, really quickly, because I'm going to keep saying it and I want people to understand. So let's just do this super fast. And I know exactly where I can go to because I know exactly where there's going to be capping issues. Is Saturday a total washout for Indianapolis? It looks like it's going to be pretty rainy for you guys, yeah. Here's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what's going on. So, let's actually go to our SigTor param so I can get a better look at the capping that's going to happen. Notice Milwaukee, Madison, Watertown. Notice this is a pretty good example. Let me see if I can find a better one though. Okay. You've got a lot of things here that could give you some. I'm gonna get a better one. I'm gonna give you a good example. You guys need a good example. This is a good example. You wanna know what capping is? So what we have in this sounding, right over Milwaukee, right around Madison, right around Watertown, there's a lot of soundings that look like this. Possible hazard type, tornado. Our sounding is saying a tornado is possible. Surface level cape, 2,600 joules per kilogram. All you need is over like 800 joules per kilogram to get a tornado on the ground. That's 2,600. There's plenty. Your SRH is a little low, and your surface level shear is a little low, and your directional wind shear is a little low. But that's besides the point. You can get a tornado with this. But you may not even get a thunderstorm by the look at this sounding. You literally may not even get clouds above your head by the look at this sounding. And that's because of this right here. That's your cap on the atmosphere. What this red line represents is the temperature of the atmosphere at this time when we're expecting severe weather, the temperature of the atmosphere as you move up in the atmosphere. That's the temperature of the environment. So down at the surface, it's about 73 degrees. And then as you move up, it's decreasing. Okay. So, and you're looking at it from an angle. So once we get about up here, you're actually looking at it. It's about 12 degrees Celsius up at around, we'll call it 800 millibars. 800 millibar level, you're at about, yeah, I'd say about 12, 13 degrees Celsius. Anyways, that's besides the point. That's the temperature of your atmosphere as you move up. The environment. It's the temperature of the environment as you move up. Right here, the dotted line is the temperature of the parcel of air. The parcel of air that is going to rise extremely fast up into the atmosphere, pull a bunch of moisture up with it, have that moisture condense, release latent heat, and fuel and create a monster thunderstorm. But the problem is it can't do any of that. It can't do any of that if the atmosphere right here, the environment around that parcel of air is actually warmer than the parcel of air. The parcel of air is going to stop. It's going to stop rising. It's going to stop rising. The parcel of air needs to be warmer than the environment around it to continue to rise up into the air and form these thunderstorms. But what this sounding is telling me right here is that at around 800 millibars, which isn't that high up, it can't rise anymore because it's cool. It's cooler than the atmosphere around it. So you call this your lapse rate, this white dotted line. So if that doesn't break, not only but here's what happens. If it does break, you can have what we call a loaded gun effect, where it snaps and you get an explosion of cape and you get just really rapidly developing thunderstorms. And then suddenly you're like, oh, tornadoes possible. If it doesn't break, I mean, you could be in sunny skies. This is when we get really conditional days where you have cap all over the place. This cap is also directly related to this little thing down here that we call SIN, but it's inhibition. So that's an extremely important thing to look at. The dew points here can also really affect. Dropping like this can also really help in effect if that cap breaks. So There's just lots of things to look at. You can't just look at this bulky looking. This is Sigtor. This is a Sigtor param. Sometimes people look at this and say, there's a bunch right there. There's going to be a big tornado. But the Sigtor doesn't care. It's not looking at cap. It's looking at the potential if the cap breaks. But the cap might not break at all. That's what's happening out here too. Same thing's happening out here. There's probably a better chance for tornadoes down here, even though you have you see this gray. This is barely any Sigtor. This is barely any Sigtor in here. There's probably a better chance for tornadoes in there than there are up here because there's a cap on the atmosphere potentially. All right. Let's see here. Oh shoot. Oh, YouTube, I'm sorry. My chat was frozen. It literally just like loaded and unfroze, and I was like, oh, a bunch of messages. That's it. That only happens. That only happens over on YouTube. That's so annoying. How does Russell, Iowa look for tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know where that is. Southeastern, western, northern, central. Where is it? I just can't keep looking up these like cities all day because then I'm not gonna be able to answer anyone. Yeah, Des Moines is in that hatched hail threat, meaning you could have very large hail, decent winds. Only a 2% tornado risk right now, but I think that may increase up to a 5%. South central Iowa, I think you're going to be in that. You're right on the border of the hatched hail. I think you may be upgraded to a 5% tornado risk tomorrow as well. So if cap breaks, what type of Sigtor are we looking at? I hope I said that right. Yeah, in that type of situation, if the cap breaks, it just means a Sigtor is possible, meaning an EF2 tornado is possible. Because once you get over a 1.0 Sigtor parameter, then that's when you're looking at the potential for an EF2 plus. And up there in areas of Wisconsin and Michigan, even around Chicago, you could see Sigtor parameters above 1.0. Or it's expecting Sigtor parameters above 1.0. So, it also depends what time does the cap break. Does it break earlier in the day? Does it break later in the day? If it breaks later in the day and you have a lot of that instability moving out of the region, that's better for you. If it breaks earlier in the day and you have a lot of instability still in place, so the timing of it breaking is important as well. There's just so much that goes. There's so many different variables that can change your day. It's extremely, extremely conditional looking. You see, like April 2nd when we had, those 400, 500 tornado warnings, that was not a conditional day. There was no issue. We knew that we knew there was going to be no cap anywhere in the atmosphere. We were just like, these storms are forming. It's happening. So, do I think EF2 plus for Michigan if the cap breaks? Yes. I'm not expecting an EF2 plus in Michigan, but it is possible. My hair ain't fully dried out from the other week yet. My grandpa is in the hospital. He is dying. Oh, I'm sorry about that. And he said, wait, that's sad. And he is old, and I'm very sad. He's such a good person, and I don't want him to go. Yeah, Sam, I'll pray for him, Sam. I'm sorry you're going through that. Travis, it's the cap in Michigan was the same as the look in Wisconsin. Yeah, let's hope it holds both in Wisconsin and Michigan. Yeah, Sam, sorry you have to go through that, man. Let's see. EF2 plus in northwestern Illinois. I don't think so. I don't think you're in too much of a worry of a Sigtor in northwestern Illinois on Friday now. I don't even think you're in much threat of a EF0. Constance, I think they said our storms will start at 5 in Chicago, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, the latest look that we have right now, let's take a look at the HRRR. Nat, I appreciate you. Latest look from the HRRR. We'd say maybe earlier than that. So, yeah, maybe earlier than that. It's possible 3 or 4 central. It's possible to have initiation around 3 or 4 central in Chicago. Right now, it's looking more like 4 central. But you can even see on the radar here. I mean, look what's going on. Look what's going on in the HRRR. There's just nothing happening up here. The cap's holding on the HRRR. There's time for this to change. Colorado State University thinks this is going to change. See what's happening on the reflectivity here? There's like nothing. There's like nothing going on up here. You have most of your initiation down here to the south. So, as we said, Colorado State University thinks, no, this cap is going to break. You can see this big section up here. So, we have to take it seriously. You're going to have a wind and hail threat. It's hard. You could have completely avoided a wind. You could avoid a complete severe weather threat, depending on what happens. Colorado State University is pretty good at telling if the cap's going to break or not. So I think your biggest threat up in Michigan is going to be wind and hail. Even though you have those big SIGTOR params up there, I still think the worst will be to the south, but we'll see. We'll see. If the cap breaks, there is potential for a SIGTOR in Michigan. I think tomorrow the question or the conditionality of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan, Indiana, I think that'll go away. I think our models tomorrow will adjust and will either add a little bit more inhibition or take it completely away. So I'm hoping Northeast Ohio does. We've dodged both March 30th and April 2nd. Wait, Jess, do you want severe weather or you don't want the severe weather? Yelly. You guys are looking okay. This is interesting what's happening with the tail of this on Friday. Let's take a look at our Sunday, what we have for Sunday right now. Matt is concerned the most about Sunday. I was a little bit more concerned about Saturday. Yali, you're in double risk zone Saturday and Sunday. Let's zoom in a little bit down here. Here's what I want to look at. Let's look at our low-level jet. You can tell a lot about what's going to happen with your low-level jet. Here's going into Saturday. Strong shear. Strong shear through this region. Strong shear through this region. Here's your low pressure. Here's your low pressure. Right here. Here's your low pressure. There's going to be strong shear in here. Look at these southerly winds. You've got southerly winds, and then you've got some that want to be pretty westerly up here. So heavy shear in this region. Let's look at our 500 millibar at that time. Pretty strong as well. Is it going to be bigger Saturday or Sunday for you? Ooh. Sunday might be the day to it's really going to be Saturday evening, I think, through Sunday morning and early afternoon. I think Sunday might be a little bit of a sketchy day for Texarkana, just based on the look of this lower level jet. This right here is a funnel of energy for this region. So we'll have to watch that. What's our dew points doing here? What are dew points doing here? Yeah, look at that. 67, 68 Texarkana. Sunday. It's a lot of energy. You've got a weirdly far eastern dry line thread as well. So a few things to watch out for. Yeah, Saturday night into Sunday morning, You know, there's. I think you guys will have a chance for a nocturnal threat, which we wouldn't want. But we'll see how. Yeah. Hey, you know, I'll update you. I'll just be in Discord telling you what's going on if I see anything in that area. Yeah, I mean, portions of Indiana. Yeah, speaking of Indiana, Indiana has a Friday and a Saturday threat. Friday's bigger threat central to northern Indiana on Friday, and the bigger threat central to southern Indiana or southern Indiana is on Saturday. I think Saturday. I think Saturdays. I'm watching the southern portion of this a lot more than I'm watching the northern portion. So I think Friday might be a rougher day for central to northern Indiana. Watching Black Mirror. Oh yeah, the first the first, let's just say the first episode of season 7 Black Mirror. It's not great to watch before bed. It's depressing. It's depressing. Ooh, thanks for the meerkat. Thanks for the meerkat, Nat. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. I'll definitely be on tomorrow. Well, yeah, I should be able to get on while stuff's initiating in Iowa too, because 3, 4 central, be 5, 6 out here. Yeah. Tomorrow's my last day in the office for like 2 months, because I'm working from home until the baby's here, and then I'm on leave for 2 months. So I'll probably be getting on a little bit early and posting a little bit earlier. Yeehaw! Yeehaw! I didn't catch it again. Chat, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I have to say yeehaw every time Holly gives a hat and mustache. Here's why I'm not seeing it, okay? Here's why I'm not seeing it. Okay, here's what I'm looking at. This is OBS. So this is a virtual camera that's linked to this camera here. So there's 3. And it shows up on this camera, but I have to have this one minused out because it's the virtual camera. So it shows up on the one I can't see. So I have to catch it as soon as you gift, or I miss it on my screen. Okay? It's not my fault. Oh, chat, do you see yourself? That's my wife's Taylor Swift banner. Chat, can you see yourself? I'm seeing your chat in the future, so you can say hi to your future self. Thanks for the corn, Jess. Yeah, I'll be live every day this week and weekend. Yeah. I will be. You guys are seeing All right, enough. There's the pretty computer. Isn't she so purty? All right. Enough messing around, guys. Enough messing around. Let's get serious here. Okay. Thanks, Travis. Yeah, baby girl. Yeah, my wife's 38 weeks, so I feel like the baby could come in any second, right? I feel like 38 weeks. 38 weeks is pretty pregnant, I think. I think it's pretty pregnant. How to read dew points on a hodograph? I just clicked on a random part here. We'll see what pulls up here. here's your dew points right here. 41 degrees Fahrenheit at the surface. Your dew points, if your dew points are rising up in the atmosphere, so say they're moving, you can see your dew points actually moving off to the right here. Your atmosphere, well, technically you want moist air moving up into dry air. So that's why sometimes when you see your dew points collapse like this, can you guys see that on the screen? This can actually be good. This can actually be good for this moisture down here at the surface to rise and replace that dry air. So in something like this, you can actually have with dew points like this that ride at the same temperature or that ride that temperature line, you can actually have oversaturated air. You can actually have basically cooled air, rain cooled air. And this can cause some issues, which is why you can see we don't really have any capping here, or we don't have any cape in this region. So this isn't a very threatening looking sounding right here. Heavy dew points at the surface, and then the collapse of the dew points as you get up to the north, that will give you some instability that you can work with. The same as when you have very warm air at the surface, and you have much cooler air aloft. Do you think the slight risk is going to get moved? Let's see. Do you think the slight risk is going to get moved more north? Because again, by the way, because you have to think about this, cold and warm air boundaries colliding, moist dry air boundaries colliding. So you want a difference in conditions in the verticality of your atmosphere for more significant instability and the ability for upward forcing, rapidly rising air, updrafts. Do you think the slight risk is going to get moved more north towards Minneapolis? I haven't seen anything that suggests that. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, let's look at the latest HRRR there real quick. Why not? Let's just take a look. Let's take a look at what the reflectivity is showing us. Actually, I like the MPAS. The MPAS can show some things sometimes the HRRR misses. Let's look at the reflectivity of the MPAS tomorrow. Oh, this thing isn't working right now. This thing is just absolutely not working right now. All right, let's go to the HRRR. Scratch the MPAS. There we go. You look at these thunderstorms initiating pretty far to the north. The HRRR actually has a SIGTOR initiation as far north as that Twin City latitude, which is interesting. So the HRRR suggests we could get severe thunderstorms as far north as Minneapolis, potentially even tornadic thunderstorms as far north as Minneapolis. But let's take a look at what happens if we grab a sounding from up here. Nothing impressive there. Let's take a look at our SIGTOR parameters up to the north. Pretty unexistent. You do get a little bit up here, though. You do get a little bit up here. With, again, inhibition, capping. Decent low-level directional shear. Not a lot of SRH. Not a lot of... not super high... 24-knot shear at the surface isn't super high. So it's, again, I guess I would consider Twin Cities conditional. Maybe you could get a tornado touching down. Maybe that far north. It's not really jumping off the map, though. Let's take a look at this. You guys have some capping issues up there as well. It's not a bad looking. That's not a bad looking sounding. Marginal tornado possible. And again, if we take a look at our dew points, let's take a look at our dew points up here too. Really quickly. Up in Minnesota. I know people have been asking about Minnesota. Yeah, you see that? I mean, you do get out to the west here. You do get some dew points that I saw get up to 63. That's pretty good. It's pretty dang good up in Minnesota. I'll say that. So maybe you guys uptrend tomorrow. Am I safe in Alexandria, Minnesota? I don't know where Alexandria, Minnesota is. I'll look. Alexandria, Egypt came up. Oh, there we go. Minnesota. Yeah, you're good up there. You're looking good in Alexandria, Minnesota. You are. Let me get back out to national level real quick, guys. Is Louisville in the clear for the next week or so? Louisville. Sorry, Louisville. You guys are in a Saturday risk zone this week. So Saturday's your severe weather day. I think you could have another severe weather day late Sunday into Monday as well. I think we'll have a risk zone potentially move up into the Louisville area. So you guys could also see a lot of rainfall this weekend. I'm going to head out. Thanks for helping with the questions about Michigan. No problem. Yeah, I got you. You have a good night too, Travis. Biggest threat for Northwest Indiana? Well, if the cap breaks, we could have a few tornadoes touch down in Northwest Indiana. So we really got to pay attention to what our models update on tomorrow. If our cap breaks, hail, wind, tornadoes are all a possibility Friday evening in northwestern Indiana. That's true. Yeah, I have a Discord, and I update all this information every day in it. Risk zones, rainfall totals, snowfall totals, all sorts of stuff. So if you do sub, yeah, you have access to that Discord. Can I please do Chicago? Yeah, we were talking about Chicago earlier. Chicago looks like a potentially 4 to 5 central severe weather threat. You know, that's when we could have severe weather initiating in the area. There's capping on the atmosphere. When we've been looking at our different models, some of our different models don't even want to initiate thunderstorms in the region, meaning you could completely, it's conditional. You could completely dodge severe weather on Friday. I think that'll be verified or confirmed or non-confirmed, or it will be confirmed whether you're going to have the severe weather or not tomorrow. I think we'll get close enough and our models will know if they think that cap's going to hold or not. I don't think it's going to. I think we will get some severe weather up there. Chicago, up to Milwaukee, out to Grand Rapids, over to Detroit. It's not looking super intense right now, but it's something we have to keep our eye on. You're in the marginal risk. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's not going to be a super high tornado risk on this event. So especially if you're in the marginal, you should be fine. You'll probably get thunderstorms, but I don't expect it to be majorly severe. The thumb region. Yeah, you got. There's like big SIGTOR params up there in Michigan, but there's not a lot of directional shear, and there's some capping issues on the atmosphere. So I'm nervous that again, I've said it before. I'm nervous that we get that loaded gun effect where the atmosphere gets super primed, and then the cap breaks, and then you just have a big explosion of supercells. It's not an impossibility that could happen in Michigan. I don't think that's going to happen in Michigan, but I would pay very close attention to what our models update tomorrow, guys. If you're up in Michigan, southeastern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, those areas are going to see some interesting updates. Chicago has the potential to get tornadoes, Ellie, on Friday. Again, the latest reflectivity, the latest future radars don't have the storms initiating on time, but Colorado State University thinks they will. They're pretty good at what they do. Storm Prediction Center thinks they will as well. One second, guys. Listen, I don't want severe weather for anyone, okay? But guys, I like weather. Don't be mad at me. I like severe weather. Okay? I've been bored. Don't make me draw the stick figure. Hold up. Hold up, guys. Hold up. Hold up, guys. Hold up. Hold up, guys. Okay. One second. Come on. Do something. That is me, okay? That is me when I have to sit on live for a week straight with nothing to look at. So as much as I would love a huge downtrend, I can't help but feel like my bias is like, please, low-level jet, amplify. Okay? It's springtime. It's severe weather season. Oh my gosh. Ugh. You know what I mean? We all have our thing. This is my thing. Oh, wait, let me do this. This is actually what it is. There it is. There's me and Mesomat when we get too many days of boring weather. You know what I mean? So, of course, and I always do this by accident. Of course, the stick is poking Oklahoma. Because if there's no severe weather happening, our only hope is that some random dry line event is just going to spark up a bunch of terrible supercells in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's our last hope when we have nothing happening and no weather event happening in the country. Will it be bad in Michigan? Again, it's super conditional, so it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if the cap's going to break or not. There's potential for it to be a pretty significant severe weather day on Friday. So, you know, SIG tours, hail, and wind are all a possibility in Michigan on Friday. Depending on if and when the cap breaks. It's so hard to tell right now, guys. Let's get our day 2 tomorrow and get fully into our short range and I'll give you my final answer there. Oh, guys. Oh, have you guys seen this? You guys haven't seen this, have you? Okay. If you're ever wondering where Kentucky is on the map, okay? There's a super, super fast, easy way to find it. This is definitely by far the quickest way to find Kentucky if you need to find it immediately, okay? So here's Minnesota. It's the chef hat, okay? Here's the guy. Here's his nose, his mouth. Okay, that's Iowa. Okay, there's his nose, there's his mouth. Okay. Here's the guy's body. Okay. Missouri's the guy's body. Okay. Here's the guy's pants. Arkansas is his pants. Here's his foot. Obviously, his sweaty foot is down here in swampy Louisiana. Okay. His sweaty feet. No offense, Louisiana. Here's a pan. Tennessee's the pan. Guys, that's the pan. And then here's the fried chicken. There you go. So if you're ever struggling to find Kentucky, boom. Takes about 2 seconds to draw that. There's the Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's Kentucky. I can't personally think of a quicker way to find Kentucky. Right? There's definitely... I mean, I guess you could type in on Google Kentucky, and then it'll pop up and show you. This way, to me, is much quicker. I guess you could just pull up your phone and look. But I think this... I think this is the quickest way. A lot of it makes sense. That Kentucky is the fried chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken. That, like, Louisiana is the feet, right? You know what I mean? A lot of this makes sense to me. So, anyways, they should teach that in school. Thoughts on Tulsa, Oklahoma for Friday? Yeah, I mean we're looking at Friday. I have been saying I think this region down here could have the most significant weather on Friday. I mean, if the cap completely breaks up here, we could actually end up seeing the most severe weather / tornado warnings up here to the north. But I think this is a pretty guaranteed situation down here for severe weather. Again, we're not seeing anything super, super intense. We're in a day 3. We're still only in a slight. I think we may get an enhanced out of this. This does look to be afternoon, initiating late afternoon, early evening Central Time. So, is there a tornado risk down in Tulsa? Yes. Is it a major SIGTOR risk? Not necessarily, but it's a strong enough one where you're going to want to have a way to get weather alerts. No wonder I have a barometric pressure headache again. I know, can't stand those barometric pressure headaches. Yeah. Saturday we have someone asked about Dallas. Julie, Saturday we have a pretty nice looking low level jet that wants to initiate down there, or surface level low that wants to initiate down here. And look at this. I think Saturday is going to be an interesting day for Dallas. I want to look at what these wind gusts are actually on Saturday down here as that LLJ moves through. Yeah, look at that. I mean, you're getting gusts of winds up 40 to 50 miles per hour near the DFW. Saturday and Sunday. So here's that low level jet. Saturday moving through. Look at this. Really could be Sunday. Saturday night into Sunday morning. This region down here. It's going to get a little spicy. There's going to be a lot of instability down here. High dew points. Lots of shear. Definitely going to have a lot of dry air and moist air colliding here. Not a super strong dry line, but there's going to be enough instability to potentially spin up something decent. So we need to pay attention closely. Saturday night and Sunday morning. I'm starting to hate the word significant tornadoes. Well, that's why I usually just say SIGTOR. I don't want spicy. I know. Last time I did draw it on Oklahoma too. I always draw a stick on Oklahoma by accident. Oh no, last time you had a rotating wall cloud over your house? Oh my gosh. Oh, Emily, you hopped on when I was describing the fried chicken, I'm guessing. Or the do something. Saturday evening, OKC sounding is gross. Let's see. All right, I got to get off here soon. Tomorrow's my last day in the office for 2 months. I want to make I should probably make a lasting impression, so I have my job when I come back. Okay, Saturday evening. Let me see if I can find this good Saturday evening sounding out here in Oklahoma. It's not a bad one. Let's see here. Sometimes right out ahead. Yeah, I mean, this is severe weather soundings, but let's go to most unstable Cape. They're all right. They're all right. Let's go a little bit farther. 12. I mean, these are severe weather soundings, but they're not insane looking. Not too scary looking. Oh, NAM, 8 p.m. ish. Yeah, the NAM actually. Wow, we haven't really even been looking at the NAM all night. You're right. So yeah, 8 p.m. would be Sunday the 03Z. So it'd be about here. so much inhibition there. Oh my gosh, I've never seen so much inhibition in my life. Minus 2200. Nothing would initiate over that. Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, look at what's happening down here at the surface. Yeah, there's just no. There's too much inhibition during this time period. This looks crazy though. This looks crazy. But look at that capping. Any updates on Chicago for Friday? Yeah, Chicago's extremely conditional. There's models that don't want to initiate these thunderstorms at all over Chicago, or they want to initiate them out east. The CSU still has Chicago in a pretty big risk for severe weather, for some potentially hail, wind, and potentially tornadoes Friday. So we'll see tomorrow. We'll get our 48-hour short range, and we'll have a lot of updates on Chicago. But it's something to pay close attention to because it's a kind of make or break, all or nothing day for Chicago. Well, this is the hodograph. This is, this whole thing we're looking at here is your sounding. Your hodograph is good at telling us the farther out these lines go, the higher velocity the winds get, and you can tell your shear by the rotation. So these are winds that are curving, okay, and then they loop. This represents rotation and wind shear. Winds that begin moving in one direction and then start moving in the other as you and each of these lines is a different layer of the atmosphere. Each of these symbols is a different layer of the atmosphere going vertical. So you can, in a hodograph, you can look at wind speeds, you can look at changing wind directions, and you can look at them as they're related to each other moving up in the atmosphere. So we're looking at capping on the sounding. We're looking at capping. This is where we're looking at capping. And all you're really going to do, I mean, this is a cap that would be very hard to break. It's the environment is significantly warmer than the parcel of air. This would be a very, very hard cap to break. Typically, you know that they could break when they get really, really close to each other, when it's just barely capping. And a good way to tell if you think it's going to break is at what temperature is your parcel of air and the atmosphere around it, and at what time. If the cap is really, really close to breaking at around 9 a.m., you can bet by it if you have 5-6 more hours of heating during the day, that parcel of air is going to outpace the heating of the environment around it. Hey, speak of the devil. It's Mezzo Matthew. What's going on, dude? I was about to get off. I'm not too bullish on any of these events, Matt. Over the weekend, we've got like an explosion of Sig Tour up in Michigan, but with plenty of capping going on up there. To the point where I think it's extremely conditional up in Michigan as well. Yeah, there's like conditional setups all this entire weekend. And then there's going to be a weird stream of moisture that's going to want to, I think, kind of de-amplify our severe weather threat Saturday into Sunday. Very weird, very weird. It's not as ominous as it was looking before. That's good, though. Here, before I get off, let's get Mezzo Matt on here to give his opinion. Matt, I'm giving you a call. Everyone keeps asking about no incriminating yourself. You're on stream. I always have to say that.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
He has lots to incriminate himself against about, guys, so I have to remind him. So there's just such a conditional look up there in southeastern Wisconsin, Chicago, Grand Rapids, Detroit, where we have this big explosion of Sig Tour, and then you go up there and you look, and it's all completely capped, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why the reflectivity or the future radar isn't really showing any initiation happening up there. Although, obviously, like, CSU and SPC expect it. And I think we're going to see, tomorrow, we're going to see a big change in that.
I feel like it's doing what it did with tomorrow's event, because tomorrow uptrended, like, tonight.
Yeah.
Time. So I wonder if we're just waiting for more cam guidance to come in to kind of suggest more outcomes with it. I definitely think the dew points look good, especially for Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, in 60s.
Yeah, I told chat, going with my gut, I don't think we're going to have capping issues. Like,
I don't either. There's two modes that I'm watching, and from what I was looking at too, it looks like the troughing is going to arrive like 6 or 7 hours late from the main, like where everything's going to be at too, which may make or break Friday's event in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good, because if the troughing arrived, on time with everything, we could be looking at a high-end tornado outbreak, which is not the case, which is good.
Yeah, we'd have rotation all up and down the squall line.
Yeah. I think also, too, we need to watch Oklahoma, Arkansas, and East Texas
Sunday,
because it looks like that mode gets going into uncapped, especially.
Are you talking about Friday into Saturday or Saturday into Sunday?
Yes. Yeah, Friday into Saturday.
Friday into Saturday. I think that low-level jet looks pretty ominous going into Sunday as well, pushing off east.
I do agree as well. Instability is going to be an issue on Sunday. I've noticed that now, too.
Okay.
So your GFS are only showing like 500 to 700 joules per kilogram on Sunday, but that also could uptrend too. So
yeah. Tomorrow's my last day in the office for 2 months. I'll still be working, but at home. So
that's exciting. Heck yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna be on tomorrow.
Okay.
8 hours tomorrow and cover. So.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get on. I think right after work, just for a little bit, so I can try to cover, because I think it's gonna be a 4 p.m. Central Time in Iowa initiation.
That's what I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah, so I that should be. I think I should be getting home around that time.
We're gonna go enhanced at midnight tonight with a hatch tail through at 30% and possibly an elevated 5% tour. But if those sig figs keep pulling up, I wouldn't be shocked if they pull a small 10% hatch.
That's what I told chat. I said we're going. Yep. I said we're very likely going 5%. Based on what I've seen, I think there's a small chance we get that 10% tour.
Well, they had the OOC. Her had this long tracker just ripping through.
Oh my God! From eastern Nebraska almost all the way over to Wisconsin. I saw that. I saw that.
Be producing destructive hail, or that's gonna be a tornado.
I saw that. I was like, holy shit! It's the whole length of Iowa.
Yeah. God, they don't need that, because that's close to Greenfield, and we're coming up on Greenfield's anniversary.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm sure we'll be chatting back and forth as we see things change. All right, later, bro.
All right.
See ya. All right, good updates from Matt. He agrees with me on most stuff. Not everything, but most stuff. Is the storm tonight for KC conditional? Let me look at the radar right now. You guys don't have much going on in Kansas. You've got one little severe thunderstorm warning, 50-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail, just to the east of Dodge City. So, you've got a severe threat tomorrow in Kansas City. Not a super significant one. Right now, most of the worst weather looks like it's going to be to the north of Kansas City tomorrow. But I would still pay attention as we get into the afternoon hours Central Time. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Michigan severe weather. It's very conditional, but both me and Matt do kind of feel like that cap's going to break. We're going to see big updates tomorrow on Michigan. I do have to go to bed. Yali, thanks. It's always so hard for me to get off. Hanging lights. Sheesh. Thanks, Matt. As I'm getting off. Connor, before you get off, who do you think wins the NBA Finals this year? I think the Lakers. I'm a Heat fan. I think the Lakers. I think LeBron's gonna win his fifth, and then he's gonna retire, and everyone's gonna hold the fact that he was one ring short of Jordan over him for the rest of his life. By the way, I was in the bathroom the whole time. Nice. Matt, you like live in the. You should just start streaming from the. You should actually create an extra stream setup in the bathroom. So when you got to go for a while, you just switch to your stream setup in the bathroom. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's against TikTok's, code of conduct or whatever it's called, TOS, but I'll look into it for you. Omaha, I think we're going to have a little bit of an uptrend on severe weather tomorrow. I do think, like we were talking about with Matt, a 5 or 10% is still on the table tornado threat for tomorrow. So I'd pay attention. Afternoon hours. I have to go to bed. I posted a video on these updates today. I'll post a video tomorrow on these updates as well. Ooh, might not be able to get the video out on time. I'm going to try to, though. But I think I'm going to be going live tomorrow. I'm going to try to go live as this event's occurring in Iowa. And then for Friday as well, we're going to try to be on live for that as well. So I'll be posting every day. I'll be going live every day. I try to time my lives better with the severe weather, so I can be covering some of that as it's unfolding, as the most intense portions are unfolding. So we'll see. But everyone have a great night. Sleep. We made it over the hump. Tomorrow's Thursday. And I love you all. You're all the best. 40 followers. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate anyone who gifted. And all the regulars, you guys are the best. If for anyone who is a sub, Connor's Climate Corner HQ on Discord, add me. I'll add you in. Get into Discord. Let's chat. Later, everyone. Have a great night. I appreciate all of you. Leanne, MK, Charles. I didn't even answer some of these questions over on too, but I have to get better at looking over there too. Okay, guys. Peace.